So hello everybody, again a video in the series a6300 badly created low production videos about how to use different parts. I'm doing this low production value on purpose because, well, I don't want to be too professional about it. I made them quickly and I don't want this to turn into a job. I'm really impressed with some of the other videos online, how nice they look and how much time people spend on them, and more power to them. But like I said, I'm just doing this to share some information with people. So as proof, I put a sticker here so that I kind of know where to aim, because I didn't put in an extra microphone or an extra monitor or recording device, which I own all, as you know, but not going to do it. So, sorry about the introduction. This video will probably, because I'm rambling, also not take 5 minutes, but maybe 15 minutes. But I will try to do the important part first. So the important part is, I guess, the whole argument, and I'm not saying it's not true or it doesn't have some merits, but the whole argument that if you use a Sony camera, the batteries are gone in 5 seconds and you will miss the most important shots of your life and you can't use them at situation X, Y or Z. And I want to talk about a few of these issues, but more important, also really pragmatic ways to work around them. To do that, and that's why the small sticker is there, so I know where to aim, I figured it was most practical to take my camera back and to show you what's inside and how I do this, right? So this is quite a small bag, but you can see I have a lot of stuff in there. Normally this is my walking around bag. I have about the big lens, the camera, and a few backup lenses and some batteries and other stuff. So this would be my normal bag. So that's kind of the starting point. So let's take the camera out and start talking about a few issues. I will put the bag away for a second. I will get it back later. And first talk about the batteries themselves, which I normally have in the front of my bag. They're in this small pouch. Because I think one of the issues is, let's first say something about the a6300 battery to begin with. It's better than on the a6000, I find. I think on average, depending on how you use it, and this video won't be about how to limit the usage, because there are a lot of videos about it. Maybe in the end I will show a few tricks, like putting it in airplane mode and turning it off if you're not using it, but it really depends how you want to shoot. If you want to shoot with the camera always on, then it just means that you need maybe 1 or 2 extra batteries, and that's more important what I want to talk about. How do you keep your batteries going in a way, or how do you make sure that you never run out of a battery? I would say on average the a6300 is better than the a6000 with battery power. Most of the time, if you take about 600 or 700 pictures, I would argue that you are okay with 2 batteries. Now, even if you use a Canon or a Nikon, I would argue that you are stupid if you don't have 1 backup battery with you. So what you end up with the Sony is not having 1 backup battery with you, but I would always take 2. Now the good news is, if you look at them, these 2 combined are about the same size and a little bit more capacity as having 1 Canon battery with you. I know that because I use them also, but let me in this case take a Sony one, which is close, but you can see they're about, it's somewhere between this size, and also in weight. So these are about 40 grams, and the one from Canon is 80 grams or 78 grams or something like that. And these are about the same size and the same capacity. So the point I'm trying to make here is that I think on average you will use 2. But I think you always need to have a backup. Same with the Canon. So what is the difference, right? This is kind of, here still have to have 1 backup battery. In some ways this is better, because if you lose one and if you keep them in different places, you have at least 2 times the chance that you have your backup battery. So yes, you need to switch it, of course, in the middle of the day when you might not have to switch it on the Canon. Yeah, true. I can't argue with that. That's about a 5 seconds task. Now you can make the argument, yeah, but it's I get a battery warning and within seconds I can't make a picture anymore. It's just not true. If you use video, most of the Sony batteries give you about, on video, about an 8 to 10 minutes, let's say, time before it really stops working. So the moment that you get your red warning that the battery is gone, I found that on average it still records for another 8 minutes. That's on video, not even pictures. So in my opinion, not a valid argument. If you really already have the warning, then you should have time to switch it to a new battery, in my opinion. And even if you don't, then there are workarounds which I will show you. But that's sort of the starting point. So don't believe everything that you hear online, that the situation is terrible and there's no way to work with it. It's just, well, not sure what people are thinking, but it's just something you need to get used to. Now, the counter argument, and I do find that that is true, that it's good with the Sonys to have multiple batteries, right? So let's show. So in this case I have 3, there's one in there and there's one in the a6000, which I'm now using to record. So you'll find that I on average make sure that they have 3 batteries. I also tend to have batteries in pockets, so I end up using maybe 6 or 7 in total. If you don't want to buy the expensive one but buy the cheap ones, that means that you will be spending about 30 or 40 bucks. That's it, right? And that means that you will have probably 3 or 4 in your bag, and you have maybe 1 or 2 in different pockets, just in case if you need one in a hurry. You will find the lucky situation that you, if you check your jacket pocket, that you have one. So that's kind of the starting point of this discussion. Now, there are some really nice things about the Sony ones, which I think most people are not thinking about. The first one is that you can actually power it over USB, right? That means that on the side you can power the camera over USB, and that has 2 interesting effects. Because it's USB, of course you can use a power plug, like I'm doing here. Now, this is the one from Sony. What I would do is, I wouldn't say throw it away, but you already have many of these in your bag, right? So, just for the fun, I got a few which I have lying around, as all people have lying around, right? So, these will all work. The good news is that you don't have to have multiple in one bag. So I usually, not this one, I usually take the iPad one, which is 2 amps, not 1 amp, because that's one thing you have to check. These both are 2 amps. I have most of the time one of these in every bag. So that means that whatever happens, I can power the different, the camera, and not only power it, but if you don't use it, it will charge, right? A thing that people don't talk about, but you can charge in camera. And that's not a bad thing, especially if you are doing video or you are doing some pictures and then stopping. If you have the USB plug connected, it will power. So using any battery, like these small ones, or bigger ones, or whatever you use for your phone, you can even do your phone and the camera at the same time, you are able to recharge your camera. Now this is all known fact if you just think about it for 5 minutes, nothing special I'm saying here. What some people don't realize is that it gives you another interesting option. It gives you an option to charge while you have your batteries in the bag. So, and for that let me put my bag back on here and show you what I mean. So there we have my bag again, and again the flash is in here, the lens is in here, multiple lenses here, but in front I have always some toys. Like I said, this in there normally with my flash cards and my batteries. I always, don't ask me why, I have some tape. I have a battery, depending on what I'm doing, I have 1 or 2 in different places. And I have this small thingy-majingy. Now, let me unhook it. This is about the size of, I would say, the width of a lens, which I will get back to. But this is actually a battery charger that works over USB. Now the nice thing about it is that, well, it works over USB. That means I can again use the battery to charge it. Handy. I can use any Not sure where I left them, so let me get another one. I can use any power plug to charge it, right? Not a big deal. I can charge 2 batteries at the same time. In fact, let's assume this one, I can charge 3 at the same time, because I can still also charge it in the camera. So I would almost say beat that. Quite easily charging 3 batteries at the same time, 1 in camera, 2 out of camera. If I need to run away quickly, I just unplug it and I can shoot right away. Only advantages. The total cost of this device is $8, right? There are multiple ones. I like this one. I will explain a little bit why. But one thing which I found even more amazing, you can do this while they're in your bag. So now the combined trick, what I normally do is, if I'm taking pictures, I have this space open because the camera is on my body, right? So what I do, I will hook this up. So let me hook this one up as an example. Normally I will tuck it away a tiny bit and make sure that the cable is hidden somewhere. But I hook this up, put this in my bag. I normally put it below there, but for now I will just put it on top. And there's 2 things I wanted to point out. One, this one, they are in quite snugly. So now one of them is charged, the other is not. And I will just leave them in the bag when I'm running around taking pictures. Guess what? This is extremely stable. You can shake, run, whatever you want to do. So that's why I like this model. The second thing is, it's almost the size of a lens. So if I take 1 lens less with me, I can in fact put it in a position where normally a lens is, right? So it's charging all the time. So whenever a battery is gone, and if normally you have 3, 1 is in the camera, 2 are in the charger. Problem solved. Depending on how silly you want to go, you either use something like the small one, which is now hooked up. As you can see, I have multiple. Or you go for an even bigger one. This will last you, I don't know, 10, 15 charges. So I can't see how you can run out of battery. And as you can see, it's a very workable solution. And yeah, it's charging now. That's what it is. Need a new battery? Just go into your bag, plug it out, put the other one in, put the other one back in. It can't be easier. It really can't be easier. So if you really think about the battery as I would almost say like an ecosystem, in that you don't just think about how long will one battery last, but also how much of them do I have with me, how do I rotate them, how do I not get scared, in that I always know that I have a battery, right? And again, I will make the argument, whatever camera you have, I would never feel comfortable without knowing where at least 1 full battery, backup battery is, even if I use a massive one, right? So I don't really see the issue here, and this is a perfect workaround. Now I will show you some extra tricks, let's say to complete what I have normally in my bag. So this is kind of in-bag charging, or at the hotel sort of charging using a battery connector. Now, so let me, as you can see, I'm moving the bag and it's still charging. It's wonderful. The first thing I want to show you, almost like a bonus, and let me also check how far we already are in the video. Okay, quite far. Well, if you are not enjoying this, I'm pretty sure you would have gone by now. So I like this box. This is not normally in my bag, but it is, or not in my, let's say, photo bag, but it is always in my hotel bag. It's not too big, and this is brilliant because it has a normal power plug, which you can find everywhere, but normally in a hotel, especially if you're running around Europe, which I'm doing quite a lot, you never have always the same plugs, right? So if you have one way to get power, then here you get 5 times 2 amps USB power. Now, we already talked about the fun about using USB as a starting point. That means I can charge batteries. Let's say I'm charging 2 batteries for the next day, right? I can hook up the small charger, which is the third one. I can hook up my iPad and my iPhone. Or I could say, well, I hook up my camera and the charger. If you really want to go silly, spend 2 times $8 and you have 4 blocks you can charge. So you could charge 5 batteries at the same time. So the stories that I hear online, I'm not trying to attack reviewers, but like, yeah, with the Sony batteries I always have to get up at night to charge, to switch the battery. I mean, yeah, but they also have like massive amount of lenses with them and other stuff with them. Plan ahead a little bit and you could charge at least 8 batteries at the same time if you want to, but 3 or 4 is easy. If you think that the power will go out at the hotel, guess what? Buy 2 of them, put one of them on a block that will charge for sure and the other one on the mains power, right? So if you think about it a little bit, it's much easier to make sure that you have charged batteries on the Sony system in this way than you would ever have in another system, because it's so easily to mix and match and charge when you are going, charging in your bag, charging in locations where you normally would not hook up your charger. And even at night, because you can reuse your stuff which you normally have for your phone, your iPad or even your computer, it's quite easy to combine the tools that you already have. Let me show you one more and then we will stop, because you can also use these batteries to power your camera, which you have seen in many reviews, which is a really nice thing with the newer series of the Sony. So it doesn't work on the a6000, it does work on the a6300 and the QX1 and the Series 7. They all allow, the newer models all allow that. Personally, I prefer, or let me say, there is another way to still power it. You can also power it using the D-tap connector, so this one, right? Now, one extra thing I want to show you is a battery which is about the same size as this one, and they also have one which is about this one. You will find another video if you look on my channel, but it's actually using this plug, right? So if you really want to shoot, I would almost say in a continuous, always want to have my camera on way, then this is a very workable solution. You have to put this flippy thingy there, and then you have to be careful always that I don't destroy a camera door just because I want to be quick in the video. So I have another battery which is a tiny bit bigger than the other one, not too much. It's also a little bit bigger in capacity. I think this is 15,000, this is 16,000. Not sure why it's a tiny bit bigger, but it comes with a nice thingy. They have different sizes of these, and this one doesn't only have a USB out, so I can charge whatever I want, and I also can use this, of course, in the way I just showed you, but it also has a direct output for the camera itself. So, and this is more for video people, or if you really want to have your camera on all day, you put this in your backpack or on your belt, and you can shoot for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I'm not trying to be funny here. This battery I bought a few days ago, or last week, and I charged this once. Was no need for it, but I charged this once. And I'm still trying to figure out when it will go to 3 LEDs, still on 4. I've recorded at least 4 or 5 hours of video and lots of pictures. Yeah, I'm assuming at some point it will go to 3 and then 2 and then 1. But this will last you all day. And again, you can use it in this powered mode, you can use it over the USB, but you can also use it to charge up the batteries, again using the plug I showed you before. So hopefully this will, if you're still listening, hopefully this will give you a good idea that yes, there is a battery issue with the Sony cameras. It's mostly because of the mirrorless design. That's just how it is. You're using the camera in a different way than you will be using it with a traditional DSLR. So that means that you get all the benefits, but also one of the downsides sides is that the battery will go down faster. That in combination with the smaller bodies, and literally the batteries are half the size, both in size and in capacity, means that it will only last maybe 40%, 30% of a Canon or a Nikon battery. just deal with it. That's the answer, because you are getting a lot of cool stuff back. Both in the camera, right? There's a lot of stuff that the mirrorless can do, which DSLR can't do. Just think about continuous eye tracking, right? Not in live view, but just always. Or other cool stuff it can do in the future, simply because it's always looking at the picture. It's always showing you what it will get. That comes at a cost. And the cost is a little bit battery life. And so think about your ecosystem and don't worry about it too much. Hopefully this video already showed you that it's not really that big of a deal. And you should be in a better position if you're thinking about battery usage than in most other camera systems, because it is so flexible. And it is so easy to always, like I said, always have two. I just showed you for $8 a way to always charge two batteries in your bag. So what more do you want, right? It's not that difficult. So don't believe everything you read online. They don't go out in 5 seconds. You don't have to worry that you can't take your next picture. You do have to plan ahead a little bit. So that's about it. If this helps one person getting over the fear of buying an a6300 or a72 or a72R or whatever, then my goal has been reached. So I will provide links of some of the products in the video or below the video, but keep in mind these are all quite default parts that you can find in most parts of the world. I would argue that most of this is on sale on Amazon, but I'm not 100% sure. But something similar for sure will be available at Amazon. So good luck and thank you for listening.